whole week, Piers.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, the fact that you have an opinion, a strong opinion, and you're arguing with Piers Morgan, that's always good theater, is it not? I mean, as a radio guy, we know that's good theater.
Sure. I mean, look, I was in a bad mood. They were kind of being jerks behind the scenes.
What was it like when you showed up? What was it like when you showed up to CNN, Alex? Were they welcoming to you?
They were welcoming, but I'd been in that very studio area twice before, and it was really nice. Now it was kind of rotting. The bathrooms were real dirty. Holes in it. Listen, well, I mean, they admit CNN's basically on the verge of collapsing. They've got a whole reorganization going on, but it basically had the smell of death in there and failure. And they were really angry. And then I have a little bit of a pot belly. Right in front of me, they said, look, he's not wearing a jacket, belly, and said, move him out front with the chairs. And they promised not to put victims on right before me, and sure enough, they did that. And Piers was kind of cold behind the scenes. And then I said, look, I'm going to make my points. And he was trying to run over me, so I just dominated him. You see, Piers always dominates everybody else, so I decided just to give it to him with both barrels.
When you go on these shows, because you're a confrontational radio host, do you get nervous at all? Do you sit there and go, oh, God, here's another day at the office. I got to go fight with this guy. I mean, isn't it a lot more comfortable just to do your own show and do your own thing?
Yes, in fact, they begged me to go to New York, so I did it. And I'll be honest, I've gotten more and more reclusive just in my own office, my own crew. I just want to go home, or I just want to, go hang out with friends. It is not fun to go battle these people, and I think that's part of the irritation, is just that once I got there, he was a empty suit. I mean, I'm excited to get up at 5 a.m. and come on your show, because I feel like I know you from listening to you so much. But somebody like Piers Morgan, and I'm not saying he might not be a nice person himself, but as a media person, he is a pure hatchet man with an agenda, and so I just called him on it.
Yeah, I mean, you have said that you were scared even to go to New York because you do have conspiracy theories, and you were afraid they were plotting to kill you in New York, right?
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, just to be honest, I've snuck into Bohemian Grove. I've covered Skull and Bones. I've covered military operations. I've been arrested in New York for demonstrating, things like that. It was after, first, they wanted to drive me the 5 or 6 blocks and pick us up. But I said, you know what? I want to walk down to the CNN building. And so they had cops in plain clothes that kept popping out. I even caught some of them on video going, hey, Alex, where you going? You planning something? And then when I left, they were following us. And it looked like cops from the movie Goodfellas or something. And then at our hotel, they were waiting for us. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to get in a cab. We're already flying out of New Jersey. I said, let's just drive out, stay in New Jersey, and fly out the next morning. So, yes, my spidey sense, which I rarely get up and leave someplace. I had a bad feeling with a bunch of New York detectives following me around. I got out of the city.
Yeah, that's it. And you live in Texas, and that's your thing. And what, you married guy?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and you got kids?
3 of them.
And so that's your life now. And when did you start in radio? I don't know your whole history, Alex.
I started in radio 17 years ago.
Right.
And I started out on KJFK, an affiliate that carried your show, that was #1 in the city at that time. And then I was on the weekends at first, and then it got high ratings, so they moved me to weeknights. And about 2 years after I was on local radio, I got syndicated. And basically where I dominate is on the Internet with Infowars.com and my other news site, PrisonPlanet.com.
Were you ever a music guy? Did you ever, play records?
Yeah, what'd you do before?
Yeah, I mean,
No. I'm only 39, so yeah. I was basically in college, and they were telling me America was bad, the Second Amendment was bad, the Founding Fathers were bad. And I'd already read a lot of history, and I thought, man, this is authoritarianism.
What college were you going to?
I was going to local community college here in Austin, Texas.
Right, and so you started to develop your theories, and then you got right on the radio. Who put you on the radio first?
The local station, because I started out on Access Television, right. And the general manager said, we're flipping from hard rock to talk, and we're going to have Howard Stern on in the morning, G. Gordon Liddy in the afternoons, a bunch of other shows. And so that's how I got my start pretty much right away.
Your family must have been shocked. You weren't a guy who fantasized about being on the radio. You were just, what were you planning on being?
Well, we've got a ranch. I was looking at ranch management. I was also looking at maybe working for the Forest Service or something because I'm a big outdoorsman. I never wanted to even be in politics. I was going to community college while I worked another job, and I was about to go to the University of Texas. And every class was a bunch of socialist brainwashing. And so I thought, you know what? I was already kind of a history buff, and I'd read a lot of history books, and I thought, I've seen this before. This is authoritarianism. And I thought, I'm going to go down and do an Access TV show because I started listening to talk radio, and I started calling in to the shows, and I wanted to be able to talk for more than just a minute. And so basically, I wanted to defend the Second Amendment. I wanted to defend property rights. I wanted to defend America instead of hearing it being run down every day. And I wanted to defend the real America, not the big corporate imperial America that we were already becoming, as more of a libertarian kind of paleo-conservative, not a mainline conservative, kind of a Ron Paul type conservative. And so I just had a hunger to fight for liberty, and just day one had success, but it grew slowly. Also,
you know what, though? I'm surprised you hate Glenn Beck so much. I mean, it seems like you guys are on the same page with a lot of the stuff politically. No. Yeah, though. I mean, Beck's into, like, stockpiling food and everything, getting ready for the apocalypse, and he's warning people about it. I mean,
Did you do that?
Well, the only reason I've said get ready is because the government's buying 2 billion bullets now. It was 1.6 billion a month ago. The government's buying armored vehicles. The government's stockpiling food. The government's acting like things are going to collapse because of the derivatives and all the financial.
What are you afraid of? Seriously, what do you think's going to be happening?
That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know who was after him in New York and what's going on.
Yeah, what is going on? What is? I mean, it's kind of hard to sum up your whole philosophy, but what do you think is going on?
What I think is going on is that the United States, and this is all on record. In fact, I actually just posted up at Infowars.com, wake yourself and others up with these free Alex Jones films, information for listeners of the Howard Stern Show, so that people can go see the Army manual that I have in front of me, Internment and Resettlement Operations, FM 3-39.40. And it's not that I'm trying to scare people. If we don't realize that we have tyranny growing in this country, bipartisan, because special interests can just buy off the government and then control the whole economy instead of competing, if we don't admit that we have these dangers, we'll get another Stalin or Hitler or Mao. That's just the way these cycles work. And the United States is not immune from this tyranny. It can and has happened here. We are now in the first stages of what will become a very deep tyranny. I mean, look at this AP headline. Feds buy 2 billion rounds of ammunition. Just 6 months ago, the media said I was making that up when it was only 1.2 billion rounds. DHS contractor apologizes for selling shooting targets of children, women, old ladies, old men. Homeland Security demanded they make $2 million worth of paper targets of children for them to shoot. This is beyond Orwellian. Robert Gibbs, the former spokesman, just came out on MSNBC yesterday. The video's up on the side if you want to go find it, maybe even play it. It's like 20 seconds long. And he says, listen, as soon as I became White House press secretary, they said, look, this drone program that's illegal, killing people without warrants, without any proof, all over the world, you're to say it doesn't exist. And Gibbs says, but it's on record it exists. And they said, look, just do it. And he said, this is like the Wizard of Oz and the man behind the curtain saying it doesn't exist. So even Gibbs is coming out saying it's a total fraud. So what I'm worried about is that our basic Bill of Rights and Constitution is being eroded. And when there's no checks and balances, automatically the worst tyrants in government, in corporations, in the culture will automatically rise to the top.
So a lot of dudes like you really do believe in, and I mean, listen, that's what the whole second. But that's what the whole second.
Disbelieve what he said.
Right. I mean, saying the whole Second Amendment was about, hey, if things get out of control, the people will have arms, and then they can go and fight the government that becomes corrupt. Right. I mean, that's why you're for the Second Amendment and for no gun limits whatsoever. Right.
Sure. I mean, look, it's not like in a perfect world if angels were running things that gun restrictions wouldn't actually save lives. Here's the problem. Some gun restrictions. I mean, obviously, you can't give guns to 5-year-olds and let them walk down the street. But the issue is, all over the world, global corporate interest, you name it, governments throughout modern history have taken the firearms to oppress. And it's in the UN treaty that they believe citizens shouldn't be able to own guns. They actually state that the state should have a monopoly of force. And everywhere that the gun grabbers are in control, like New York, like Chicago, they have total gun bans for the basic citizenry. It's almost impossible to get a gun permit unless you know all the right people. And then, the mayor and folks have their own armed bodyguard bubble, but they're trying to deny poor people that. So the issue here is they're disingenuous. They don't want the guns at the top because they want to save children. Adam Lanza tried to buy guns 5 times the month before in New Haven, there in Sandy Hook, and was unable to. The gun restrictions are for the law-abiding citizens because it's the instinct of the tyrants to always disarm people that they want to oppress. And the system's been disingenuous, and people now know, hey, you're not trying to get the guns for reasonable restrictions. You want the guns as part of an overall attack on the entire Bill of Rights. I mean, look, 5 years ago they said, conspiracy theory, the NSA isn't listening to the general public. Now they just admit they're listening to us.
But, Alex, don't you lose people when, first of all, I love the whole Glenn Beck thing. He called you a terrible spokesman for gun rights, and you called him despicable, and you said you're sick and tired of him, he's a punk. I still think you guys are on the same sort of political bent. I don't even understand the rivalry.
I'm not so sure.
Why? Why are you not sure?
Because he's just basically saying that, there are these laws in the Constitution, and people are trying to usurp our powers by blaming, by saying, you can keep guns out of a maniac's hands. And so we'll keep them out of everybody's hands to do that. That's not the way you make a law. And the Constitution already says you can have a gun.
But exactly. Alex, don't you lose people with, although, I mean, listen, you're a radio guy, you got to be a performer too, and you got to hold an audience. If you keep upping the ante with, like you said, Mayor Bloomberg probably hired the mafia or undercover cops to pose as crackheads to kill you while you're in New York City, during the Piers Morgan thing. That's where you start to lose people because they're like, you know what I mean? You're going to, sure, like you could probably run for office or something if you didn't go after the really far out there conspiracy theories.
Listen, Howard, I totally agree with you that sounds crazy.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Here's the deal. It happened, so I talked about it. I've never put out something saying they're coming after us, look out, this is going on. I was sick when I went to New York, had the flu, was throwing up in the CNN bathroom. That's why I described how dirty it was. It was really disgusting to be bending over a toilet with crap sprayed all over the wall. I mean, literally, not from me, other people. I'm in this filthy bathroom throwing up. I got to go out there, I'm sweating. I'm up there with Piers Morgan. Actually, I wasn't putting on, quote, an act. I was pissed off. I did blow up. But it actually worked out. At first, people were all shocked by it, but then they said, wait a minute. And of course, I heard Robin the day after talking about it. Look, you should be mad. That's being a real American. They said it discredited me, but notice they haven't invited me back. Right. Because they don't want America waking up out of its coma and getting upset. But listen, getting back to the whole Bloomberg thing. That night, before we left the hotel, it might have been a little panicked. I might have even, in my own mind, exaggerated things. Maybe not. All I know is I caught some of this on tape. Rob Dew, my news director, went with me. I said, man, I feel like crap. Maybe if I walk down the street, because I'm sick, maybe I'll feel better when we get there. So I'm walking the 5-6 blocks, and guys are popping out of doorways that are obviously cops, going, hey, buddy, what you planning? You planning to do something? I'm a big listener.
You think that he was plotting against you, Bloomberg?
Listen, I'm just guessing because he runs the city, and they look like detectives to me that I've seen, around Bloomberg when I've been up in New York.
Could they have been fans of yours?
Listen, the first time I thought, man, that guy probably is a cop. It happened twice, 3 times. They knew where I was at. They obviously had the cell phone tracking systems that the police under Homeland Security can dial into and pinpoint exactly where you're at, just like your wife, if she has your phone code.
Alex, do you ever think that you're paranoid, seriously? Because
no, listen, I caught it on tape. That's the thing, is that then I said, I want to be let on the mall exit. I don't want to be let out on the back door. His guys are waiting out there. And we walk out, and there's the guy turning, walking, talking to his sleeve, bumping into the wall, and 2 other guys are walking up like in a Goodfellas movie. And I said, taxi, and jumped in a cab and left. All I know is...
You think they wanted you out of New York?
Listen, I was arrested. It's on video in New York 5 years ago for nothing. Okay, we were down there protesting at Fox News. They had a live event.
What were you protesting?
We were protesting media propaganda.
Okay.
But the point is, I was protesting Geraldo Rivera. The point is that I was in New York. He was having an outdoor deal. We went down there, and the police came. an undercover guy on video, this is in my film Truth Rising, points at me, and they go and arrest me and almost pulled my shoulder out of its socket.
Were you? Did you ever ask?
I've been in a New York jail.
Did you ever ask the police why they did that to you? I mean, you were protesting peacefully, right? You weren't provoking anybody.
No, you can go watch the video. You can pull it up. Alex Jones arrested in New York. Go watch it. Listen, my point is, I know when people are basically hunting you. You know when a tiger is crawling on its front paws about to pounce on a gazelle or something, okay? You know that, and you know when cops are on your butt planning something, they had a look in their eyes like they were planning something. You know the difference when cops have just got you staked out to see if you're planning something, and the difference when they're acting really aggressive and bugging their eyes out at you like they want to tear your head off. And my instinct was, get the hell out of here.
You think they don't like you?
Now, do you think you're safe in Texas? Is that why you broadcast from there?
Listen, I go out. I've snuck on military bases to cover urban warfare drills. I snuck into Bohemian Grove. I, go out there without bodyguards and do all this stuff. I'm not normally a timid person. I'd gone in. I'd gotten my Piers Morgan interview. I had the flu. So when you're dizzy and puking, do you feel like going to jail?
Are you in fear for your life?
Not generally. I mean, I'm in fear for my life when I drive to work. That's the most dangerous thing in this country,
right?
Is automobiles. But listen, let's just be specific here. I'm bold. I'm the opposite of fearful. I was off balance. I was sick in New York. I was going off pure adrenaline, and that's why. I mean, imagine, Howard. I'm sure before you've had an event or some big thing you've got to do. You're a consummate professional. Have you ever been sick before and had to go on air?
Yes.
And we're kind of an asshole.
Many times. I'm not kind of an asshole every day. I mean,
no, you're not. But when you're sick and have to perform,
yes.
Do you tend to be almost even more focused?
Yes.
Than pissed?
Yeah. It's funny. Some of my best shows are when I'm really sick.
Exactly.
Right.
So again, I mean, sure, I had the flu. I had 102 fever. I mean, did I overblow? Cops follow me around? Yeah. But the point is, it happened. It's on video. Okay, just type in. I mean, we actually caught 2 of them on tape. But listen,
how you doing financially, by the way? I mean, you're on 140 stations. You got to be making serious money, right?
I do make a little bit of cash, and that's why I've got around 50 crew members and news people, and I don't know how many square feet, like 14,000. No, it's more. It's like 18,000 square feet.
And you put the show on the Internet as well?
Absolutely, sure. I mean, I'm on XM, on 166, and we're on, it's a little over 150 stations right now. And then we're also on Infowars.com with the audio streams, and the podcast is about 600,000 people.
And, Alex, what happened to you if there was a time that you got fired by a ton of radio stations because you said 9/11 was an inside job by President Bush? That put you on the map, right, as sort of the leading conspiracy guy.
Well, actually, I had gotten up to about 100 stations in 2000, 2001 because I was bashing Clinton for his agenda. And then all I said was, not that Bush had a plunger and was, there like Wile E. Coyote detonating the towers. That's kind of how the media has spun it. It was in Newsweek that hijackers were trained at U.S. military bases. And as a news hound, I was reading this in Newsweek as just a footnote. I was reading about Bush Sr. in the London Guardian and AP with the Carlyle Group and the bin Laden family at his table in D.C. that morning. I was reading about when all air traffic was grounded for 2 days, 15, 16 flights of the bin Ladens out of the country with the FBI helping load them on planes to fly them out, including his, sisters and brothers and people. I remember reading about Colonel Stephen Butler in the San Jose Mercury News wrote a letter. And I called the guy at home, and he said, I can't talk to you. I'm getting threats. They started court-martialing him over it. Look this up, Howard. This is just some of the data points. He said, look, I don't know what happened, but Muhammad Atta was in my class. He was a spy. He was a U.S. agent. Then I interviewed Springman, the head of the visa section of the U.S. Embassy in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and he said that they were ordered. And this came out in the Toronto, news, New York news. It was just back of the paper that they were ordered to let 15 of the 19 hijackers in from Saudi Arabia the year before 9/11, and it was flagged as Al-Qaeda, and they were told by the CIA.
So what you're saying is you believe that somehow the government used these guys, let them do their thing, and therefore it would disrupt the world and would get us enable us to go into Iraq and to go into possibly Iran. In other words, this was all staged.
Well, no, listen, it doesn't mean the whole government or the whole military. It doesn't mean there's not Muslim extremists and Al-Qaeda. Of course there is. Look, here's an example, Howard. You can look up L.A. Times, New York Times, you name it. They now have to admit it. Our government the Peace Prize-winning president, put over 60,000 al-Qaeda in Benghazi to then take over Libya and kick Gaddafi out, who was actually working with the West. And now al-Qaeda's taken the country over, and Sharia law and the abuse of the women. Now our government is attacking Assad, who's not a good guy, but compared to al-Qaeda, he's an angel. Our government and NATO is backing al-Qaeda in Syria in a 22-month takeover. But then when I want to go fly, I've got to have TSA look for bin Laden underneath my balls. So it's a bunch of crap. They're using it to take my liberty. I'll face whatever so-called danger there is, real or manufactured. Stop using al-Qaeda to take my liberties. And now look at Homeland Security, Howard. You saw it in the news a few years ago. They said the #1 terror threat is returning veterans, gun owners, conservatives, libertarians. They're now flipping the script to say it isn't al-Qaeda, forget them. No, it's libertarians. They're the new terrorists. And that's my problem, just briefly, with Glenn Beck. Look, I got offers 10, 12 years ago. Hey, stop covering this New World Order. You know, the big syndicators will put you on 500 stations, Alex. And I wouldn't shut up, and so I lost about 70 of my stations. I didn't care. I built it back up to about 150 now because I'm not going to compromise. It isn't just about success. It's about living in a free country.
Explain to me this whole theory you have about putting chemicals in juice boxes to turn children gay. You believe that there's
now, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, why do we want to turn everyone gay? Number one. I mean, who's behind that movement? And what chemical is there that can turn you gay?
All right. Now, specifically, I did an hour-long show 4 years ago that got picked up, a hour-long TV special that I did that got picked up by the Huffington Post about 4 or 5 years ago. So it's become this meme where they took out of context where I was showing literally more than 100 articles, and I actually printed some of those off. I'm going to source for you right now. So I was reading about bisphenol A and about hydrofluorosilicic acid and several other chemicals that are in the water, but also in the particular plastics that line the juice box I was showing on air. And I said, you know, in this whole hour-long breakdown rant/news, while I'm showing all these articles and major studies about how the fish are becoming bisexual, the frogs, the amphibians are becoming bisexual, how the fish are committing suicide because of the Prozac in the water, the shrimp are committing suicide. Folks, if you think I'm joking, just type in shrimp committing suicide.
That is pretty funny, shrimp committing suicide.
Folks, I'm not joking. I swear to God.
Sometimes, Alex,
bisexual fish.
Yeah, sometimes I think you see the humor in some of this. I do believe that. Yeah.
No. It's so crazy. I laugh at how insane it is.
But this is crazy. So you think, because there seems to be...
don't you think that your arguments are so far out there? Because you don't have to get that far out.
Although I got to tell you something. When I went to summer camp, there was a known thing that they would douse us with a thing called saltpeter. Now, I'm not kidding. And so you know what saltpeter is, Alex?
You saw them doing this, Howard.
I didn't see them doing it, but we were told it was to reduce our sex drive, and they put it in the food.
And how horny were you?
It didn't slow me down. I'm so fucking crazy when it comes to sex that it just made me normal. You know what I'm talking about? So maybe, but who the hell is putting?
No, so you see, my theory. Wait a minute, Alex, because I know, I can buy some of your argument, but you don't have to go that far out to make the case that the government is not protecting
but maybe he does, or else then he doesn't have a radio show.
No.
Well, that's true.
Robin, my problem is, truth is so extreme and crazy that it's worse than I'm saying. Listen, here's one
Alex,
article.
explain, too, how does a shrimp commit suicide? I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah. When are they jumping off?
Yeah, like, what do they do to commit suicide? All right.
The serotonin reuptake inhibitors, one of hundreds of chemicals in the runoff, the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, the Prozac family, Luvox, all that stuff, it kills inhibition. So when you're having a nice day, everything's fine. But that's why the insert says can make you commit suicide or go on a killing spree, because when you have a bad trip, it's in the psychotropic hallucinogen class, then you don't have the compulsion control anymore. And so it's the same thing with shrimp. Crazy.
Yeah, but what are they doing?
Well, how do you
They
kill
swim
yourself?
right up. Normally, shrimp hide down in the undergrowth in the seagrass. Shrimp become aggressive and go feed right at the surface and don't care about being eaten. Just type in, please, fish committing suicide because of chemicals in the water.
And you say there are more bisexual fish.
Listen.
How do you know?
About, in some cases,
he seems to know.
Half the fish. Listen, exactly. You've now been at the store, I'm sure, and seen it says, hey, our plasticware is bisphenol A, BPA free.
Right.
Okay, because of my work and countless others' work and mothers caring about their kids, they are, by law in Canada and Europe, removed bisphenol A, one of just dozens of these plastic chemicals that are, quote, estrogen mimickers. And what the Huffington Post didn't report 4 years ago when they made fun of me was the rest of my video. They clipped out that short clip where I was saying, why is breast cancer up 3,000% in the United States? And why are we leading the world in it? And I showed studies that bisphenol A hyper-feminizes women. That's why they're going into puberty now at 6, 7, 8 years old, having kids at 10. Instead of 14 being the average puberty, and that it makes males feminine, women hyper-feminine, and then accelerates the aging of the cells in the mammaries and other sexual cells that are generally the ones that end up developing cancer. So a 30-year-old woman at the cellular level has the breast DNA of an 85-year-old woman. Bisphenol A is killing women. My grandmother is almost 90. She's got breast cancer. But what about young women? What about my wife? What about my daughters? What about my wife's mother who had a mastectomy? This is a serious issue. And I said, we can make jokes about juice boxes making little boys gay, but this is giving women breast cancer. And they cut it out and said, oh, look at the right wing, saying they want to make kids gay. That isn't what it was even about. It's a byproduct.
Are you anti?
How do you stand on gay marriage?
Where are you on gay marriage? I don't care about it.
Well, listen, I'm a libertarian, so I think people should be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah, right.
Good. Okay.
What happened when you went to...
So this is not a homophobic thing.
What happened when you went on the show The View? Was it a disaster? I didn't see tape of that.
No, it was great. I mean, I took it over.
Right.
But, I mean, what's the point? They wanted to basically make fun of Charlie Sheen when I was on there.
Right.
And,
is he your buddy?
I've known Charlie for about 8 years. I probably stayed at his house 15 times. He's a really, really interesting fellow. And
that I would say, yes.
And
what happened?
Reality is beyond even what people hear. He's a really, really smart guy.
So, like, when you go over Charlie's house because you become friendly, he's a fan of yours, right? He buys into a lot of your theories.
Sure, but I shouldn't have let the meltdown happen a year and a half ago on my show, because it was first Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez that were listeners. It was Emilio that turned him onto the show in my films, and then Charlie invited me out there, called me back in like 2005. And then,
was it culture shock for you when you went over his house?
No, well, back then he was all clean and just incredibly smart and incredible energy. The guy would sit there, up till 2 a.m. just talking about quantum mechanics and stuff.
Does he know what he's talking about?
Oh, he does. But see, the issue is, and he explains.
Well, how would you know? Do you know quantum mechanics?
I do.
I'm into stuff like that. Sure, I mean, that's what I'm into.
That's your thing.
Charlie described it this way. He said, I go through phases. He goes through phases where he goes and rents an industrial telescope to be able to, shoot video with the Department of Defense telescope of geoengineering going on. And then he goes through a thing where he's studying ancient manuscripts. And then he goes through a phase where...
Yeah, but maybe he's like...
7 hookers a day.
Yeah, right. Were you ever there with the hookers and saw that whole thing?
No, I was just joking.
Did he ever try to do drugs with you?
No, listen, I've never seen him do drugs. All I've seen him is smoke Marlboro Reds and drink tons of coffee.
Were you ever into drugs?
I've been honest about it. Growing up in Dallas, Texas, I experimented with this and that, but every time sure.
Pot?
Yes.
Ludes?
I never really liked, I tried hard drugs once or twice.
LSD?
How am I going to discuss that?
Uh-oh.
The point.
What do you mean you're not going to discuss
What do you
mean? What do you mean? Alex, you're on it. Alex, did you do LSD?
I'm not going to. No, I didn't. I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. No.
Why don't you talk about drug use? Seriously.
I smoked pot, but I didn't inhale.
How come you don't? Do you want to run for office or something?
Listen here, I got to tell you something, Howard. I did not have sex with that woman. I've never done LSD.
Alex, why don't you talk about that? You seem pretty honest. Why don't you talk about stuff like that?
Because it's a distraction and overall diversion, and I might have a glass of wine now.
Right.
And I don't even smoke cigars anymore. So, that's basically it. I'm a clean guy.
So if you admit that you did acid, it would hurt who?
Undermine your argument?
Well, yeah, then Howard would say, well, that's why he's so paranoid.
No. I wouldn't say that.
No,
I did acid. I mean, it was the biggest mistake of my life.
I'm high on reality.
LSD was the biggest mistake of my life. It really was. It was a huge mistake. I tried it in college. I took 4 hits one night, and it really screwed me bad. I mean, I'm glad.
Well, that's why you way overdid it.
I did. I took 4 hits of window.
Alex apparently knows.
And I'm very anti-drug as a result.
I've never done it.
You know a little too much about it, honestly. Alex's show is at Infowars.com. You don't miss Alex's nightly news program.
I've got to check this out because
he's an
I want to know what's going on.
At prisonplanet.tv. When you know
what I want to know? How does he?
Back if I could. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait a minute, but how does he? Do you let your children go to a regular school or do you homeschool? What do you do?
Homeschool, you gotta be.
Sure, I want to say this. Hillary says kids that are homeschooled are shut-ins. It's the opposite. Quite frankly, it's almost an elitist thing nowadays, and I feel bad for folks that, don't have the money to have somebody stay at home and take care of the kids. But, I mean, it is doctors, lawyers, scientists, artists. I mean, my children are homeschooled.
Who teaches them? Your wife?
And 5. Yes, my wife. But really, there's all these homeschooling events. Something like 9% of Austin, where I live, is now homeschooled. And it's just constant events and sporting events and spelling bees. But
I would think it's exhausting to homeschool kids.
It actually is exhausting. In fact, I'll be honest. I mean, it's good when they're really little so that they can stay innocent because then they can actually develop their creativity. But
do you have any fun, Alex? I mean, did you watch the Academy Awards? Or would you do something frivolous like that? Or are you constantly involved with political stuff?
Listen, here's why I can't watch the Academy Awards. I know Zero Dark 30 is a bunch of torture porn fiction. You don't think that happened? Having Michelle Obama shoved down my throat. I mean, for me, seeing the propaganda, Howard, is torture. No, it's not real. It's all fake.
Well, let me understand something. Do you think Osama bin Laden was killed during the
when we found out?
When do you think he got? Well, do you think he's alive?
Well, I mean, here's the issue. See, let me just go back for a moment.
You really don't believe they killed him?
Let me just break this down.
Go ahead.
Okay, I said day one with Dr. Steve Pachinik, who was the former head of the State Department and CIA psychological operations. He's the guy that got the Anwar Sadat deal at Camp David. He's the guy that, I mean, he's super famous. He's the guy that co-wrote Tom Clancy's books, okay? I can probably get him on for you if he wants. He's pretty reclusive.
I just want to go on record as saying, I think Osama right now is being eaten by gay fish and suicidal shrimp. I think he's in that water right now.
He's the bisexual shrimp, or
I believe they're sucking his dick right now. But go ahead, Alex.
Hey, did you guys search engine the suicidal shrimp to find out I'm not lying?
No, I haven't done it yet. But
not yet. We're going to go home and do homework.
Shrimp on treadmills.
Shrimp on treadmills.
Benji, what's it say about suicidal shrimp?
Yeah, no, I looked it up. It's he talked about now their intention might not be suicide, but like he said, they swim.
They go out of their minds when they swim to where they're not protected.
Right.
There you go.
Did you look up suicidal fish?
Hey, what do you think? What do you think of the this thing we did? We saw it in the news. These cheeseburgers at McDonald's. Do you know how they keep them out for a year and nothing changes in the meat or the cheese? What do you think's going on there?
Well, of course, Super Size Me showed that years ago.
That's right.
Well, here's the deal. The truth is, this is what we're talking about. I mean, here's the Huffington Post headline. Harvard study confirms fluoride reduces IQ in children.
Fluoride.
Absolutely massively increases bone cancer. But I mean, just getting back to I want to answer that, but should I answer the bin Laden first?
I don't know. We're all over the place.
We're all there are too many questions on the table.
Go to bin Laden. Is he being eaten by gay shrimp or not?
Listen, here's the deal. Dr. Steve Pachinik said on 2002 on my show, and he's a doctor, a medical doctor, not just psychiatrist. He said that bin Laden died of kidney failure and where he died. And even CBS News reported he was at the American Hospital in Dubai dying in 2002. This is what's insane. But that he would be rolled out later by Bush. But see, Walter Cronkite came out before he died. And then Madeleine Albright came out in 2004 during the election, Bush's re-election. And so did Kerry's wife, Hines. Kerry. They all came out. Look this up, folks. And said...
I can't believe this.
Wait a minute. Let him finish.
Yeah. And listen, I swear to God, look it up, you'll have it. Maybe you'll have the video.
Just wrap it up. Wrap it up. I got to hear what you're going to say.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just giving you sources, so your listeners know this isn't crap.
Okay.
They all came out and said, Dr. Pachinik's right. Bin Laden has been frozen. He's at the Dover Air Force Base, and they're going to roll out. I'm serious.
I'm not laughing because I just felt
they're going to roll out his. I don't blame you for this.
Robin's right in there with you. Don't worry.
They're going to roll out.
No, I just don't believe his death now meant anything.
But listen, here's what I'm saying: because Walter Cronkite and the former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright came out and said Bush don't bring out his body to get reelected, they couldn't do it, so they kept him frozen, and then they had the Navy SEALs go to a house to get the thawed-out dead body, and then they blew up the Navy SEALs when they got on the helicopter so that it wouldn't actually get out. And then 2 weeks later, I talked to one of the Navy SEAls whose buddy died in SEAL Team 6 here in Austin. I talked to him. Remember, 23 of them blew up on the helicopter in Afghanistan. They then blew up the guys so they couldn't tell the truth. And now it turns out no one saw the body thrown off the aircraft
But who's
carrier.
going to all this trouble?
They
and
fired everybody on the aircraft carrier.
And how are they? And what about this guy who's in the military who just said he's the guy who put the bullet in Bin Laden's head, and he's saying that he can't even get any kind of help in terms of assistance or money from the government. He can't find a job. I mean, he seems pretty legitimate. He put a bullet.
It's all part of a psyop, so it's believable, so you feel sorry for him. Listen, it's all complete, absolute.
Who's behind all of this, Alex? Who is it?
What is this Carlyle group? You mentioned them.
Saudi Arabian major group that is one of the major controllers of that, right along with the Queen of England. The Saxe-Coburg-Gothas, the Rockefellers are a huge, huge part of it. It is the old mega money that makes their money out of government contracts and monopolies.
I liked Michelle Obama on the Oscars, Alex. I thought that I think she's terrific, an excellent representative. She handles herself well.
And her and Bloomberg can now tell us what to eat.
What?
Her and Bloomberg can now tell us what to eat.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, Alex. She's more on your side than you know, because she just wants people to be able to eat real food.
I know, but she's only worried about, she says it's calories, and yeah, she talks organic. That's good. Okay, so I'm not saying that that's not a good thing. You're actually right. But listen, I'm not even saying Obama himself is a demon incarnate. He's reading off a teleprompter. Not saying he's not a smart guy, but those guys are so busy, it's a schedule, they're being handled. Listen,
Alex, on your show, do you ever handle anything frivolous? Like, do you like Michelle Obama's bangs, or would you just not even get distracted?
Or do you go to the top 5 or anything?
Right, yeah. I mean, seriously, do you comment on
Scary Spice?
You do.
Yes.
You feel she was a good choice for America's Got Talent?
Well, I think black women like that are really sexy. So.
Yes. Have you ever slept with a black woman?
Well, I'm not going to talk about it.
Why not? Everyone wants to know,
LSD,
Alex.
He won't.
Alex, what happened to you?
Dallas, Texas.
What happened to you?
I did grow up in a chocolate city. No, listen.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of acid and black women in your past. Do me a favor, before I run out of time, Alex. And by the way, Alex is promoting his, of course, Infowars.com and his nightly news program at prisonplanet.tv. Would you take a few phone calls from some of our...
Sure, I will be here as long as you want, but can I answer the hamburger thing?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, hamburger.
Okay. Again, I'm not going to say this on air because it's so outrageous. I want you guys to search it. This is something that predates even the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. They were allowed, and the big secret in food over the last 100 years, that if you called something a food additive, you could add addictive and toxic things. A lot of things that are toxic, like aspartame, are also addictive, which they now admit it's causing type 2 diabetes. CBS News just last week. So what is McDonald's? It's not just McDonald's. I don't want to just single them out. Just type in one ingredient. McDonald's adds silicone to McNuggets. Now folks,
that's gross. You're talking about silicone.
Well, you never tasted silicone. Silicone's good.
I won't eat that shit.
Well, listen, silicone is a foaming agent. They fry liquid plastic and you eat it. Everybody knows what that does to you. So the truth is, it's so adulterated and designed to be able to sit there for a year so they can still cook it, and so no one could ever get food poisoning. It's been irradiated.
By the way,
so many additives.
You've got to be right about that, because how could a hamburger sit on a shelf for a year and not change? I mean, it's outrageous.
It's mummifying your colon.
Yeah. Well, and why do they do it? Because it's just cheaper, right?
No, they do it because they want to create homes for the shrimp at the bottom of the ocean. They need to mummify your colon for a home so the shrimp can live in them, the gay shrimp.
Isn't the whole plan to kill
Wait a minute, Alex.
in all
I'm listening to you.
I'm trying to understand. Isn't the whole plan, according to you, to eliminate 80% of the population so that this new world order can take over the planet?
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned who's doing it. I have over there on the shelf Eco Science, published 1974, the year I was born, by the current White House science czar, John P. Holdren. Now, it's scanned online for free. Type in Eco Science, John P. Holdren, and he's the current science czar, and he did this for the Rockefeller Foundation, and he says in 74, we need a global government to carry out an orderly population reduction, and he says we need to add chemicals to the food and water to reduce fertility. Now you can argue there's too many people. The point is, folks, yuppies
there are too many people.
But yeah, the yuppies say, okay, get rid of people. Okay, well, who are we going to get rid of? Who are we going to kill? The point is they're hitting us all.
Are you for abortion? I'm for it. I mean, there's so many unwanted children in the way. I know you were crying the other night about children, and you
what was that?
Yeah, what was that, by the way? But
what happened to those children?
But seriously, Alex,
what are we talking about? Who was crying for children?
You. In 2011.
Yeah,
I heard a tape. We played a tape of you crying over some children. I don't know what the hell was going on.
Well, I have actually cried for real sometimes. But listen, here's the issue. On the issue of gay marriage, it should be a state issue, right, as Ron Paul has said, and the state shouldn't even be involved, period. And on the issue of abortion, they carry out abortion for population reduction. And again, I'm going to say it. Margaret Sanger, you can pull up her writings, university writings, scans of the letters in the National Archive, where she said, we're going to pose as liberals so that blacks trust us. We're going to hire black doctors and preachers to sell them on a welfare state, to take over the black community and break up their families so we can abort them. And they abort fully 52% of blacks since Roe v. Wade in this country. So, again, we're talking about blacks.
So you're against abortion or you're for it?
I'm asking people. Okay, I can hear the argument of, oh, it's a woman's right, or she got raped, or whatever, her first trimester.
I'm saying there's too many people on the planet who are unwanted and unloved.
Abortion because those are humans, and they're even aborting people, Howard, up to 9 months. Babies.
9 years.
I'm for 9 years. I got to tell you something. There's so many unloved, unwanted children. And by the way, most people who are for, the abolition of abortion, they don't give to charity, and they don't sit there and take these children.
They're not adopting these children.
They're not adopting these children. Sure. They just want more children. It's a nightmare.
Let me ask you this.
Because once the children get here, who's taking care of them?
Sure. The Journal of Pediatrics last year called for killing kids up to age 3.
Thank you.
Howard, are you serious? Are you going to actually shoot 3-year-olds in the head?
No. I'm not going to do it. We have people who do that. No, I'm for abortion. I'm not for 3-year-olds being killed. I'm for abortion.
No, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
These are the arguments. And again, there's always arguments for it. You can argue on both sides. The problem is medical tyranny started with abortions, and then it started with the mentally ill, and then it started with the handicapped, and then it went to everybody in a place called Nazi Germany.
Aren't you for amniocentesis, and if the child is Down syndrome or something, aren't you for the abortion?
Well, here's the deal. The state has even been pushing to make people have abortions. Did you see where they made that 9-year-old
That's not answering the question.
Hey, but what about you I'm talking about? I mean, amniocentesis, okay? Your wife gets pregnant, you do it, and you find out the kid has horrible birth defects, it's going to have a miserable life, lots of health problems. You would get an abortion, right? I mean, you would advocate that. I would. Why should a child suffer?
But then it's going to be if the child has a cleft lip, and then if they have a club foot.
Well, okay.
No.
We can fix that. Come on. We can fix that.
I don't know. The eugenicists are talking about the government screening stuff and saying if you're aggressive, or they say the child could be mentally ill, and they call being aggressive and loving liberty mentally ill.
Hey, Alex.
Official psychology
well, see,
manuals.
this is where because now you're saying, well, we couldn't trust those people to tell us the truth.
Hey, do you believe in aliens?
Because there is this conspiracy.
We have this guy Riley on it, he believes in aliens. Do you believe in aliens? Do you believe that there is life on other planets?
How would I need a raise? I can't do this voice. It's so hard. Can you play a clip of him? Because if I hear a clip of him, I could actually imitate him. Can I hear one?
Look at here. But wait a second, Alex.
It's all too easy.
Do you believe in aliens? Do you believe alien life forms were here?
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
All right, take a few. Hey, was your father a dentist?
Conflict. Yes,
Alex, he is. Is he proud of what you're doing, or does he think you're nuts?
My father, who's well-read and study history, he said, yeah, you're right about a lot of this, but our government's not that bad, and it's going to be okay, and things will work out. That was him 17 years ago. Now he's like, oh, my God, it's all real, it's horrible. And what's really got him freaked out...
He's less trusting now.
But, Alex, are you really getting anything done?
I just want to, listen, it doesn't mean I have all the answers. I just want to get people thinking. I want to get people talking. I want to get people to not be cookie cutter and to think outside the whole left-right paradigm. And that's where I'm different than Glenn Beck. Here's my issue with Glenn Beck, okay? Glenn Beck behind the scenes, and I know you went through this too, Howard, because I've read your book and watched your film and have listened to the show whenever I get a chance driving in the morning, for 20 years. Here's the issue. Going back, we all had, for whatever reason, local radio hosts that wanted to defeat us, or even people at the stations we worked that had a hard-on for us. And I didn't understand it 17 years ago. It was because they realized I had more talent than them. Right. And listen, I got Michael Savage coming on my show today. He's probably the second biggest, the terrestrial host out there. He's not the king of all media. I mean, I, behind the scenes, know a lot of other big national hosts. The point is that, I'm a big supporter of what Matt Drudge does, DrudgeReport.com. Right. I'm not here trying to tear down other people. I'm not competitive because I know it's all wide open. I'm just into info. That's what I like. Glenn Beck has, behind the scenes, for at least 6 years, tried to damage me, tried to take me down. He's lied to his audience. Here's an example. I'm in New York 2 years ago to go on The View, on ABC, and on CNN, and on NBC. But I was going on Fox News, and it's lunch, and I'm eating a steak right next door at that restaurant, right next door to Fox Center. And I'm supposed to go on not one but two different Fox shows, and the producers come over, and a well-known Fox personality, and goes, I really got to apologize. I've been on Fox many times, over the years, probably 15 times before that. They said, we really apologize. Let us get your lunch. And I'm like, don't worry about it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm eating my steak, great New York steak. That's why I wish I lived in New York sometimes, and even better than Texas. And I'm sitting there, and they tell me, Glenn Beck is crawling the walls over there, saying, people are going to pay for it, and he's going to hurt careers of underlings if we let you on these other shows. And by the way, he's done it over and over and over again. So in other words, he will actively go out and try to undermine your career and stop you from working. And whatever we cover 3 days later is on his show. I see. I mean, here's an example, Howard. There was a story about 3-4 months ago going around where he was putting out fake TV commercials of a UN Agenda 21 takeover, and I'd seen them, and I could tell they were fake, and that it was a hoax. And I said, no, Glenn Beck's not for the UN on his Dish Network show. This is a hoax. And I instructed my 10-plus writers and webmasters, I said, don't post that crap. We didn't tell one weekend person. One person, they posted it. I saw it, called him and said, what the hell is that? It was up 32 minutes. And with web caching, it had been up actually about 5 minutes. Glenn Beck's people had already screenshotted it. He went on air and said I was defaming him, lying about him. I mean, that's a setup, folks. He's watching me 24/7, and it's creepy. Yeah, and wouldn't it be weird, like, if, let's say you're right about everything, the world, goes pretty much away the way we know it, and you and Glenn Beck are the only two guys left because you guys have been, stockpiling food and everything. It would be crazy. Can we come over to your place? Yeah, we're gonna get down there with you. So, now, there is a conspiracy theory out there that you yourself are a CIA agent. Have you heard that one? Absolutely. There's conspiracies. Look up this one, that I'm a blood-drinking reptoid lizard from Planet Pop-Tart. And I'm CIA. Listen, here's what I want, Howard. If we cover the evil that's happening, it won't happen because we say no to it. But if we deny tyranny's growing, it will take over. Okay? And so, of course, that's the problem. The government and the mainstream media have been caught lying so much and shoveling such pure crap at people for so long. How many guns do you own? But let me just finish this point briefly. Go ahead. I mean, it's so important. It's so important. Go ahead. They've been caught lying so much that now no one believes anything. And so they think that I'm a blood-drinking gay lizard who is all... I'm not joking. Type in Alex Jones as a homosexual lizard. Have you ever had gay sex? Gay space alien lizard who's a KGB agent. And so what's happened is the general public doesn't know what to believe anymore. And so you were asking, what was the last question? Have you ever had gay sex? Have you ever had gay sex, you said? No. Hey, how long have you been married? 12 years. What was the other question? Any cheating on the wife? No. We're never going to see scandal with you? No, I'm a pretty hard-working guy. Hey, listen. Where do you stand on anal sex? Honestly. Come on. Is that more important? I did? Oh, okay. I know what it was. What was it? I forget. I want to hear anal sex answer. Alex. He gets stuck. By the way, you're married to a Jewish woman. Well, yes, on my wife's mother's side. Yes.
And do you buy into any of those conspiracy theories that the Jews are behind everything?
Well, let me explain this.
That's why he married one, Howard.
Right, smart.
Important issue.
Yeah, why not marry a Jew and get in on all of this?
Listen, this is not an exaggeration.
Right.
If you go online, you will get more results for Alex Jones, Mossad agent, Alex Jones Jew, for me than you will Benjamin Netanyahu.
Right.
I'm not kidding. The Nazis and all of them, I'm not exaggerating. I am like the #1, I'm actually proud of this, most hated person by Nazis worldwide for whatever reason. I don't even really know.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, you know.
I think I cover some of the conspiracy topics that they want to hijack and run.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm not letting them take over the debate really pisses them off.
How many guns do you own? That was the question.
Can I just finish the Jewish thing?
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I'm not going to be rude to the show. But
no, go ahead. I'm fascinated. Keep going.
Well, no, listen.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Every group has mafias in it. And there's a Jewish mafia, there's a Muslim mafia, there's Irish mafia, Italian mafia. And so what's happened is some of the Jewish interest groups like ADL and others, they've gone way too far, demonizing people that criticize what, like, oh, Bernie Madoff's corrupt. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. No, Bernie Madoff's a crook. Like Ken Lay, who's not Jewish, is a crook. Are we saying people with the English Lay, now you're saying British are bad. You're racist. You don't like Ken Lay or this or that. They use it as a way to divert people off. So certainly there's plenty of corruption. Certainly, they try to use the anti-Semitic label to demonize anybody who is standing up for the Palestinians. All that kind of stuff goes on. But separately, experiencing the fact that because my wife's part Jewish, then they go, well, that makes your kids little hook-nosed Jews. We want to kill them. And that's all over the web. They want to kill my kids.
Wait a second.
My issue is the nastiest people I've run into, I've got to say, are the Jew-obsessed folks who, by the way, think no one can be successful unless they're Jewish. So now they say, I'm Jewish, and I've never had any success from working hard. I've been successful because the Jews have done everything for me.
All right.
Well, that's what I thought.
Finally, how many? I'm just interested in your gun collection. What is your favorite gun, and how many guns do you own?
Okay, my favorite gun is a Barrett 50 caliber.
Go ahead.
To give you an idea, I bought a Barrett 50 caliber for $5,000. It's now worth $20,000.
How good a shot are you? I mean, if you really had to, be tested in terms of your accuracy.
Do you go to the range and all that stuff?
To me, the range is the scariest place to go. There's so many maniacs I used to go to the range all the time, but no more.
Well, I go out to my buddy's 12,000-acre ranch right outside Austin.
Oh, so you can go shooting outdoors.
Yeah, my friends, one of them's a famous rodeo world champ, and the other guy's a country music singer. The Steiner brothers have a really nice ranch, and we go out there. We can shoot it a mile away with 50 calibers, and with a Barrett 50 cal, it's handheld artillery. In fact, go to Infowars.com. I'll post up there some of our gun shows we've shot.
Have you ever had to pull a gun out on anyone?
No, I haven't. But expanding on that, I didn't want to sound too wild. I have more than 50 guns because here's the deal. They've all gone up in value. I bought, when I was about 18, the first gun I walked in and bought that I bought at a Walmart was a Ruger range rifle. It's basically like a wood-stocked M16, but semi-auto. I bought it for like $250. It's now worth over $1,000.
So it's an investment for you.
For me, but I've never sold any of them. I literally, most of my guns have doubled, some have tripled, some have quadrupled, and I've got them distributed, all over the state, basically, and it is a big part of my nest egg. And also, yes,
But when you first bought that gun, what was the purpose? You just like to shoot, or you're interested in guns? What's the deal?
Kill the hippies.
No, we have a lot of wild hogs on our ranch. And they eat the baby deer, and they're a big problem, a feral hog infestation. And so I bought that because I was working my way through school and college, wasn't getting a lot of help from my parents, just so I wanted to work on my own.
Your father's a dentist and he didn't help you out for college?
He helped me out a little bit, but not much.
What is up with that? That's awfully cruel.
Listen, I went into sales right away out of high school. See, I was making good grades in college, but I was successful because I was.
But the old man could have helped you. He's got.
And he was only going to community college.
Yeah, it's not that expensive.
My dad did buy me a green Mustang on graduation.
He did. All right. Well, that's more important.
Absolutely.
When did you lose your virginity? It seems to me you got married very young. You haven't had a lot of time to screw around. So.
Okay, well, I'll talk about that.
Good. All right, yeah.
I'm a stud.
There's a theory that you have only had sex with your wife, and you've never had sex before that. That was the conspiracy theory.
I don't think sex is a bad thing, but I don't think I've ever even talked about this.
You were a stud in college?
I was a stud in high school, bro.
No kidding. Football player?
I did play football, but I wasn't that good.
Ever have a threesome? On acid?
Actually, my wife.
Were you ever on acid with a threesome?
I'm not going to answer any of these questions, Howard.
With black girls?
With black women and Jews?
Women.
Did you ever have a threesome? Seriously?
You know, I don't particularly like threesomes because I like to.
So you had them?
I like to pay attention to what I'm doing. You know?
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
That Vulcan mind meld that goes on.
How much of a stud were you? How old were you when you lost your virginity?
I was 12.
No kidding. To a teacher?
No. It was a 15-year-old girl down the block.
Look at you.
God almighty. Well, see, here's what happened. I remember...
Look at you. That sounds like child abuse to me.
No. I remember when I was like 10. Oh, no, it's not bad when you're actually little and it's somebody your age. But the point is, listen, here's the issue.
I agree with that.
Listen, here's the issue. I mean, let's just all be honest about it. I'm a red-blooded American, and because I played baseball, just locally in golf and stuff in the neighborhood, we grew up in an upscale golf course area. I hung out with all the older kids who were like 15, 16, 17, and I heard them talking about all their girlfriends, and then the kids my age would lie about all the girls they'd had. So I thought I was behind the curve when I was like 12. And then, you
knew what you were doing sexually at 12?
Yeah, what did you do?
It was like a duck to water, man.
Wow. Are you over 6 inches?
Fish to water. Do what?
Alex, are you over 6 inches?
I'm not, I can get the job done.
Really? Where are you on porn? Are you for? You must be for porn. You're a libertarian.
I don't really like it because I think it. I think it takes from the reality. I like the visceral. You
don't masturbate at all?
Not really. No.
Really?
I like the real thing.
No kidding.
Nothing like the real thing, Howard.
Once in a while, it's fun, no? Look up, you always tell people look up babysitter porn on YouPorn. There's something you can look up.
You're too
no
funny.
kidding.
No, but I mean, my issue is...
Look at you.
My issue is...
12 years old. That's fascinating.
Yeah. And so you were the aggressor, you got the 15-year-old. You got the older woman.
No, I mean...
She seduced him.
Yeah, no, that's what happened. I learned the joys of older women at that
How
point.
did you know? Did she guide you through your coitus? I mean,
no, I didn't need it to be guided.
Really?
Come on, it's like riding a bike, man.
Yeah, but if you've never ridden
But if you've never ridden...
I don't know. It looked like I knew how to ride that
There's
bike.
a theory out there, and I'm just going to put it out there, that this girl you had sex with was an Israeli agent for the Mossad. I'm not kidding. I've read it, and I know it. Listen, Alex, you're a lot of fun. Alex Jones is at theinfowars.com. He has a lot of information. You can see.
And we don't know where this information comes from, but he has a lot.
But I'll tell you what. The guy mixes it up. He does his thing.
He certainly presents it well.
He loves provocative radio. I'll tell you what I've learned. I've learned there's gay shrimp. I've learned there's bisexual fish. I've learned that Alex Jones had sex at 12 years old with a 15-year-old. Lest anyone think he's not a red-blooded American, you're out of your mind.
Well,
he has made love to black women, Jewish women, and possibly
LSD.
And probably took LSD.
But wait a minute.
Accurate
Conspiracies. Actually, I'm actually a virgin right now. It was all a joke, Howard. I was pulling your leg.
I was going to get to a bunch of calls, but...
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Coming up, but you know you want me to stay.
Well, yeah, I do want to
shut up and have quick answers. Let's do a couple.
But wait a minute. One concern I have is when people just stir and stir and stir controversy.
Yes.
It really doesn't do anything. And if you really are serious about this stuff, you have to do something about it.
Look, he's doing a radio show where he's got to keep...
So you believe he's just entertaining?
I believe Alex believes what he believes in, but I think he also has the pressure of being an entertainer, and he has to keep coming up with stuff.
That's not my point. If it's true what he's saying, he's entertaining.
How would anyone know what's true?
But... what? He claims that he's researching.
Well, you know what? Whatever. Alex, let's take a couple of phone calls.
Sure.
All right. Let's see what people have to say. Let's go to Johnny O. Johnny O, go ahead.
What's up, Howard? How are you doing?
All right. Johnny's a listener from Louisville, Ohio. Go ahead, Johnny.
Okay.
I am actually a super big fan of Alex Jones. He has some really interesting theories. The only thing, Alex, that I can really disagree with you with is some of your thoughts and theories on the Georgia Guidestones. I've actually visited the Guidestones.
What are those, the Georgia Guidestones, Alex? Fill us in on that.
Oh, it's something Ted Turner secretly paid for there in Georgia, calling to keep the world population below 500 million. That's a 90-something% reduction.
So you think Ted Turner...
What's a Guidestone? Georgia Guidestone.
Ted Turner has called for world government to forcibly reduce population.
No. When you look at shit like that with a negative connotation, Alex, then you are going to have... Let me ask you, is that your Christian background coming out, like, when you think of that stuff?
Listen, I do love God. I do have a relationship with God. I do have a spiritual side.
You believe there's a personal God that you're going to meet when you die?
Listen, the universe is wide open. Did you see the big German studies and MIT studies finding that it appears reality is a simulation and there's something holding it together and that it's organized? I mean...
We haven't seen any studies,
by the way,
Alex.
Stop asking us if we read study. We don't read anything. Rob and I are empty vessels.
Listen, brother, let me tell the guy something. People who say there's too many people, you could argue that, but hey, are you going to kill yourself? Here's my deal. What does it mean? What does it mean? Hey, there's too many people. Anybody saying that, start blowing your heads off.
Right. Well, no, we're for the people who are here. We want to just keep everyone else off the planet. All right, let's go to Hansy. Oh, Hansy, Hansy, you must love Alex. You believe in every conspiracy, right?
Right.
I find it coincidence that my show is postponed and then this guy gets to come on this week.
See, there's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Alex.
Oh, you sound tough, man. Don't hurt me.
By the way, Hansy's a big conspiracy guy. He believes in the Illuminati. Where are you on that, Alex?
The Illuminati is on record. They got the documents in the 1780s there in Germany.
Hansy claims I'm in the Illuminati.
It became the Jacobins in the French Revolution. And there are National Archive letters of George Washington who battled the Illuminati here in America.
Okay, but Alex, see, this is what I don't get. See, you give out information, and I'm not even denying that. Like, I learn a lot from you. But the part is that how do you get away with this stuff? How do you sneak into Bohemian Grove and nobody in the FBI, CIA touches you? See, that's why I think you...
Because the force is with me, buddy.
Hey, and by the way, he uncovered gay shrimp. Let's see you do that, Hansy, when we give you your show.
No, suicidal shrimp.
Suicidal gay shrimp.
Hey, Alex, what if Hansy's show is such a success and you turn into Glenn Beck and you try to undermine his show?
Listen, I wish him success, but you know who needs more time? It is the guy that thinks he communicates with aliens. He's got the best voice in the world.
Riley,
yes. Captain Jenks, you're on the air.
Listen, if you play a clip of him, I can actually copy him, but I have to hear it first.
Go ahead, Jenks.
Yeah, I was just curious how you could allow yourself to cry like such a pussy little bitch girl on TV.
I am.
You cried on TV?
You know what? Because real men break down and cry sometimes. I have real emotions.
Alex, why do men in this country... Alex, why do men in this country think that if you cry, you're some sort of pussy? Doesn't it take a real man to show emotion?
Listen, I don't usually cry. Back when I got in a lot of fights, it wasn't just women. I was like in street fights. I used to walk, 4 miles when I was like 15 years old. Somebody challenged me to a fight down the railroad tracks. And let me tell you, you better watch out. If I start crying, I can stomp your ass in the ground.
Are you a good physical fighter?
I'm a little out of shape now from just sitting there all the time. But yeah, I'm a badass.
Yeah, and you've beaten up guys?
Yeah, I put people in comas.
You have? Is that documented? Where can I read that?
Well, it's all sealed in juvenile records. I'm just joking. I'm not tough. Right. This guy would kick my ass in a minute. Everybody that talks about being tough's a wimp.
Captain Jenks, you've never cried?
No, I cried, but not on national TV like that. How play for him and let him answer.
Well, I don't even know which time was this that I was crying.
Is this the tape that I played earlier?
Oh, my goodness.
The children. Yeah, that one. Wait, let's see if I have it. I don't think I have it.
Captain Jenks, I'm shocked at you.
Yeah, let me see.
JD1 in red, Howard.
Here, Alex, I'll play it for you.
You gotta watch the video. It's unbelievable.
Hey, Bapa Booey, you thought I was going to come on here and be mean to Howard. I'm not. I like real people, man.
You're a little
man, I'm keeping it
crying like that.
Oh, come on, Jenks.
I was crying like the guy in Deliverance.
I can't
squeal, piggy. I mean, you squeal.
All right, here it is. This is you crying, Alex. Here you go.
And then last night, God just showed me so much, and I couldn't even talk. And I do not even feel worthy to be here bringing you this information. And it just absolutely brought me to a place I've never been. Where God just really says, you want to see the evil? Here it is. Feel it. And to feel what the children are feeling, God almighty.
Alex, performance or real crime?
No, totally real. Totally real. Listen. You know that Fleetwood Mac song?
Yes.
Yeah, here comes the crystal visions. I keep my visions to myself.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Howard, you ever had a vision?
Yes.
Yeah, I have visions all the time.
It involved a threesome.
Wait a minute. You have visions all the time?
What is your vision, Alex? What's the last one you had?
What is a vision? No, just incredible epiphanies times 100 where you have amazing understanding, but also things open up, and it's called discernment, and then you... When you can actually study history and evil and also look into the spirit of evil and then look into what the spirit of evil is doing, that is a vision and an understanding of the globalists and the snuff.
That happened to me on ayahuasca.
That's right. That happened to Robin.
I don't need to take ayahuasca to go to that place, but go ahead.
I got to tell you, Alex, I've learned a lot this morning. I do have to wrap things up because, you know, we do take breaks, but I got to tell you.
Do you go to one of those big mega churches?
No. No, I don't go to church.
Where do you don't go to church?
Establishment BS.
You know what I'm startled. I'm startled that Alex is a big Scary Spice fan and actually excited about her joining AGT.
That's amazing. That was the biggest surprise of the morning.
I didn't know where you would stand on that. I didn't know. What? So you don't go to church at all? You just do your own thing?
I have a relationship. I mean, I can feel the spiritual energy. And I have goodwill. I want everybody to go into the future, all humanity to survive, not merge with the machines. They're planning to get rid of the whole military, have it all drone, all robot. It's a technocracy. And read Why the Future Doesn't Need Us by Bill Joy, where he goes to a big technology elite meeting with 200-plus billionaires, people that own these major systems. This was in Wired magazine in April of 2000.
How many books are you reading a week?
And he said the elite plan on basically killing everybody. The elite don't want people anymore. They have robots. And so we need to have
who are the elite going to be with?
Hey, how many books are you reading a day? I mean, you got some amount of reading you're doing.
I have read probably 400 books on history. I've probably read 200-plus books written by globalists.
And how many a week?
No, I don't really have time to read a lot of books anymore. I kind of read through bibliographies, and I see where things have been sourced, and I order the book or look it up online.
What is the most trusted news source to you? I always thought the New York Times. You don't believe that.
The most trusted news source is having a long-term memory and an understanding of history and human behavior and the globalist agenda.
But what do you read? What do you read that you trust that you think is on target?
I read everything.
Publication,
none of it.
What publication do you like?
You know, it's not so much a publication. There are real reporters pretty much everywhere.
Who do you like? Who's your number one guy? I know it's not Piers.
He said Drudge before.
Drudge?
I don't know if he's like...
Is Drudge...
I mean, DrudgeReport.com is the one place where you can really, I mean, if you're the king of all media, Matt Drudge is the king of punching something out there and being able to make something the news of the day. That is unbelievably rare and unique. Because it's all the big radio hosts, the national news. I've been in national newsrooms. They all have it on Drudge. And so Drudge is a place I check all the time.
Have you ever interviewed Jesse Ventura?
Yeah, I'm good friends with Jesse.
I would think so. I mean, you guys have a lot of the same things.
Have you been down to Mexico with him?
Yeah, you go down to Mexico?
No, I haven't had time to go down there. But, his son helped wake him up. Jesse already knew about the Kennedy assassination. Right. And his co-author helped wake him up to a certain degree. But Jesse's, you know what? I don't agree with Jesse on a couple issues. It doesn't matter. The guy's real. All I want is reality. All I want is real damn people, not fakes.
All right, fair enough.
Well, he does, Howard.
Yes?
Howard, he does have a point, because even on 60 Minutes a few weeks ago, they did this segment on robotics.
Right.
And they said robots are going to take over the work of the world. And then the reporter from CBS said, well, what are regular people going to do? And the guy did not answer. He was like, these people are going to take over the work. There's going to be no work for people.
We have to fix the robots.
Let me leave you with one
That'll be
point.
Very few people, Howard.
Let me just take one chilling point as we leave here. In literally hundreds of white papers by MIT and others, if you want this, I'll send it to you. I'm not kidding. What they say they're going to do is they're going to, in vaccines, inject us with what they call an anti-stress or anti-drug use vaccine. But they're not even going to tell you. And if you look this up, they go, a new vaccine, this is 3 years ago, is going to cure, and this is where it's all going, is going to cure stress. But they're not really vaccines. They're genetically engineered nanotech viruses that go in and eat selective ganglia and neuron clusters in the cerebral cortex and other areas, which are a selective lobotomy where you will be a biological android. And we have evidence they're already testing this on the military and others. So soon, if we don't turn this around, the plan, you're hearing the ultimate secret here, is to add to flu vaccines and other things.
Did you take the flu vaccine?
Absolutely not.
You would never take it?
No.
Do you get your kids vaccinated?
No, never had any.
No vaccines whatsoever.
And that's what's spreading the flu. It actually doubles your chances of getting the flu to get the flu vaccine.
You didn't give your kids the polio vaccine?
None of it.
But isn't that a disservice to everyone else? I mean, you know there was
wait a minute. If you've had the vaccine, you're covered.
That's right. So why wouldn't you do that?
So how's it a disservice?
Because everyone has to take it in order to keep polio off this planet, which was a major scourge.
Look this up. Dr. Salk, the original polio vaccine had SV40 and killed conservatively more than 100 million Americans that have gotten cancer since the 50s. It killed them with that weaponized monkey virus, the SV40. Look it up. And the original stocks they're still using is what's causing this. And look up last year.
But you don't think polio being off the planet is a major innovation in this country?
Okay, look this up. Right. Look up German government takes clean vaccine, or Chinese government has secret organic gardens. Vaccine technology is real. The problem is they're adding stuff to it. Listen to this. This is key. Look up 46,000 children paralyzed last year. 46,000 children paralyzed in India from flu vaccine. And it's back of the paper. They're spreading the polio with the vaccine itself.
But, Alex, aren't you in danger of scaring people so much that things like polio
But this is what I'm saying. You're constantly stirring and stirring. Right. You're not really getting anything done.
I'm warning people. Listen.
I'm afraid to take vaccines.
You should be wanting to take over the government and fix things. This is the way it's going.
My mother doesn't take flu vaccines. Just about 15 years ago, she was running triathlons. She's still a master swimmer, and she wins silver medals in major competitions.
She must have a great body.
But the point
Why are you asking him about his mother's body?
I'm just curious if she's doing that much athletics. She must be pretty hot.
Well, my mother did look like a supermodel when she was younger. But the point is, getting back to all this.
My mother's a D-cup. What do you think of that?
My mother.
And I've seen them.
There you go.
Right.
Listen.
What did your mother do, Alex? You're getting all befuddled.
Yeah. They told her on the team, they said, everybody go get a flu shot, and almost killed her. She doesn't take it anymore.
Did you see the news the other day?
I'm worried that everyone is afraid of these vaccines.
But Howard,
polio vaccine is a great thing.
Wait a minute. Howard, did you see, here we were carrying on. Wait a minute.
We can't trust anybody.
Listen to me, because I'm telling you, he's on to more than you expect. The other day, yes, wait a minute.
I thought he was locked up somewhere. All right.
The other day here, 2-3 weeks ago, we were debating flu shot, no flu shot.
Right.
Everybody's taking the flu shot. Everybody's being told about this great flu epidemic. Yesterday, the news was that the flu shot that you took was only 9% effective.
Oh, please. Alex, aspirin good or bad?
It's good unless you're under 3 years of age. It's a miracle drug.
All right, listen, I got to wrap this up, so I'm going to ask you one final question.
Yes, sir.
You said you like truthful people, you don't like phonies. Give me your list of the 5 biggest phonies on this planet.
Oh, my God.
Come on. Give me 5 names.
We won't even know them.
No.
Elizabeth Saxe-Coburg Gotha. Notice we never know their names.
How many people?
That's what I'm saying.
That's
there
the
you
Queen
go.
Of England.
Elizabeth Saxe-Coburg Gerber?
No. Elizabeth Saxe-Coburg Gotha.
You're saying that's the Queen Mother?
No.
That's the Queen.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Oh.
And I do mean the second.
Yeah.
Her real name, notice it's House of Windsor. That's a brand name. They're actually a German family that's not even German. Did you know they're Transylvanian and that their lineage is actually to Dracul and the Dracula Castle?
Wow.
And that they actually
She is a vampire.
A vampire. No, come on, Alex, give me 5 modern-day people who...
Queen Elizabeth is here.
Right. Who is the worst person on the planet right now who's a big fake phony?
Well, I mean, look at how the Pope's having to resign, all these other cardinals, over transvestite parties.
Right. So you're saying the Pope...
Transvestite parties?
That's right.
No.
Have you yourself ever been to a transvestite party? Are you worth $5 million?
Did you sneak into the transvestite party?
Alex, are you worth $5 million?
I see those. Is that site that tells you worth?
Yes.
Does it accurately guess yours?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't accurately guess mine.
Are you worth more than $5 million?
You know, I'm not like Glenn Beck that goes, I just signed an $80 million contract.
Right. So where are you at financially? Are you a multimillionaire?
I'm not going to talk about money, man. It isn't cool.
So money, acid, and black chicks, you're off the record.
Well, let's be clear here. Let's just be clear here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've got a big ranch that our families had. They got in a Mexican land grant in 1830. You know, but I don't really come from what you call a rich family.
Didn't you pay $800,000 for that ranch?
No. I can't even buy anything for that. Anyways, the point is...
I was going to say, where's your ranch? In a swamp?
It's at the CNN building. All right, listen, Alex, we've yented it up for an hour and a half.
You know, they're doing... what's that ink blotter thing they do?
Rorschach.
Yeah, they have like shit all over the walls, like a Rorschach painting.
What do you mean they have shit all over the walls? He
said that Piers Studios are falling apart.
Yeah, but let me tell you. Okay, I've been in there a couple times before, very same floor, been on Joy Behar, you name it. Been to CNN multiple times before. It used to be all glistening nice. Holes in the carpet, light bulbs burn out. Everybody looking freaked out.
Because they're running out of money, you're saying.
But listen, let me tell you what happened. So I'm sick, and I'm like, oh, my God, the flu, I got to throw up again. So they put me in this green room. And I go in there, I'm like, is this on purpose that they put me in a bathroom that literally had, like, diarrhea projectiled across the wall in some type of, who was the art guy that splattered all the paint?
Pollock.
Pollock, yeah.
Yeah, but is this like black crap, green crap, brown crap? So it's like a Pollock painting.
This is shocking what you're saying.
Listen, so I walk through, because... Here's how it works. You've got on one end a green room and a TV set and, you know, a picture of Fareed Zakaria on the wall. So then I walk through the makeup areas. I'm there about an hour early. And I want to go see the other green room because the Kennedys haven't shown up yet in Dershowitz. So I walk in, open up that bathroom. It's filthy. Because I was going to get mad. I was like, did you put me here in purpose? Because I'm not a neat freak. But, you know, I thought there's no way they put me in a room with feces all over the walls, you know, on accident. Okay, so then I was going to get pissed because I was, you know, I had the flu, I was angry, I was stomping around, you know, just going on adrenaline, and I go and it's dirty too. So then I go out and go down the hall because I'd been in there before. You know, a few years ago, back when I still smoked cigarettes, I snuck in the common bathroom and smoked a cigarette. I'm just joking. Anyways, so I went down to the common bathroom and it was dirty. So I was kind of doing an inspection, kind of like you check the kitchen. And I'm telling you, that place is a sinking ship.
Wow. Wow. Now you've blown the lid off everything. Listen, Alex, I got to go. Alex, I got to go. Check out Alex Jones.
There's more.
There is?
Watching Wolf Blitzer, and you know the Situation Room, it's all white floor. You say
Wolf Blitzer shit all over the walls?
Listen, he has a white floor on Situation Room. Next time you're watching, watch the white floor, and used to it was all glistening white. There's like black and brown spots and scuffs on the white linoleum. Look carefully how threadbare they are. When you watch CNN, you'll see the rotting. It's a rotting carcass of propaganda and garbage. Howard and Robin and all of you, and Bapa Booey, see, I was nice.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks for having me.
Why wouldn't you be nice?
Well, of course. What's the agenda?
He's like, I'm telling you, Howard. I saw his email. He's a nice guy. He goes, this guy is a Morton Downey Jr., and he's going to come on there and try to show you up like a jerk. I'm telling you,
No,
Howard.
Gary was like, I was excited to have you on. After I say I'm Piers, I go, I got to get this guy on the air and talk to him about it.
I was a fan from the first time.
I'm a fan of Bapa Booey, so I want him to be my friend now.
Good. He can come produce your show. Check out.
Fascinating, I'll tell you that.
He's a very fascinating guy, Gary. And Gary, don't worry, I'm not letting you go over the Alex show. You're going to stay right here with me.
I don't think I can pay him what you're paying him. That guy makes more money than I do.
Check out Alex Jones at Infowars.com, and don't miss Alex's nightly news program at PrisonPlanet.tv. Alex, thanks for coming on.
Howard, it's been amazing. Hey, will you come on my show? I know you're too busy.
I'm way too big for your show. You need
Savage coming on today.
You need 100 more markets. No, I'll come on one time. Yeah, when I'm promoting something, I'll come on.
When you got a booker, hey, you'll get big response on my show.
All right, Alex, I'm there.
All right.